Yo, what is up, guys? This is the rise of the best podcast in the world. I'm Paul,
And I'm Emmanuel.
and this is EP Snap Podcast, episode one.
So, Paul, I know that we're both college soccer players and we have aspirations of playing pro. Um, what do you think? Is it harder to make it in Europe versus America, or it's the other way around?
Yeah, I definitely think it's harder to make it here in America to play professionally than Europe, just because here in America, it's not that it's more competitive, because I still think it's more competitive in Europe, but it's just everything here in America is about money. All the division schools, like Division One, Division Two, Division Three college schools, it's all pretty much pay to play unless you're an international player or like a high academy player here. I think that in Europe or even anywhere in the world besides the US, if you look at it, like they all big teams or even smaller teams have academy teams under them. And let's say you go on a trial or you try out for them to get on that academy team and you make it, it's free. Like you don't have to pay a dime. But here in the US, unless some academy teams are free, but everything else, club teams, ECNL teams, Premier teams, it's all you got to pay for everything.
hmm Um, what advice would you give a soccer player trying to make it, whether that's either college or pro, and it doesn't matter what division level?
I feel like just you got to work hard. You got to want it more. You can't be getting pushed by your parents or by your friends or anything. You gotta want to do it by yourself. I know for myself, I had time. I like soccer's my sport, my favorite sport. I love playing it, but at times I had many times where my parents would have to push me and tell me to get off the couch, stop getting lazy, go outside, go train, go do some running, blah blah blah. Like my parents still had to push me sometimes, but I feel like for a soccer player to get to that college level or go pro, like let's start talking about the getting to the college level because pro is even steps ahead of that. But it's you just need to train, you gotta dedicate yourself, you gotta want it more. And I know here in the US, it's way harder to do that than in Europe
Right.
because in Europe, honestly, like, or anywhere in the world, soccer is like the main sport. Like, yeah, they play other sports, but the main sport is soccer. Here in the US, like, we have football, we have basketball, baseball, soccer's there, but they're all like in the same level. And many people watch it more in Europe than here. So yeah, for kids in the world besides the US, they grow up with the ball at their feet. They grow up playing the sport. Like if they got nothing to do, they're gonna go outside, play some soccer. Here in the US, a bunch of lazy people. There's a bunch of people that just would rather watch TV, play some video games instead of going outside. Just because you don't feel like training, you don't feel like doing this, doing that. You'd rather just be comfortable on the couch and doing the thing you like.
Yeah. I know we both play at a D2 level. What do you think about the competitiveness and how we train and the games that we play and like the system? What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I think the D2 level is a good level. Like it has many good players at that level. Like there's D2 teams like maybe even our team that could compete and beat D1 teams when we play our game. And then there's also D3 teams that could beat D1 teams, D2 teams, and the other way around. I just feel like for our level, I feel like our practices, our trainings can go a little better. I know it gets intensity, like the intensity picks up when we play against each other, when the coach starts screaming, pushing you and stuff. But if the coach doesn't say anything and we're doing some drills, I feel like it's just slow, and some players don't even care. They just come to do it, just to come to practice,
hmm
and they just go through the motions. But honestly, I think we should start making gyms a little, like the drills a little more, I could say like higher or intensified, just because your brain thinks more. Because for soccer, you always got to think, you always got to know where you're at. And yeah.
Yeah, I know. everybody's different, every level's different. So like our system could be different from another. Um, we always talk about having a leader, right? Certain captains who can lead a team. What do you think about that? Like, what are the steps to lead a team and make your teammates just feel like we're part of the family?
Yeah, honestly, it's very hard to be that player and lead a team, but it's always needed. You always need that one or two players that can step up, that are not going to be scared, are not going to be awkward. They're going to talk to the team. They're going to scream at the team whenever needed to be. They're going to tell players they're wrong at times, just so the players learn from their mistakes. I think the qualities of a leader, you got to be confident like in what you're doing because you can't be leading your team, telling your team to do this with like a quiet voice, like saying nothing. Like you can't be doing that. You have to talk loud. You have to also know the players, know how they act, know how to calm them down. You gotta know all different type of stuff. So it all goes into being a leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, what about confidence? So if a certain player is not getting the playing time that they think they deserve or that they should be getting, what is confidence in that in an athlete standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, there's many players that are really good players, but they just don't get the playing time. Maybe just because they're young still. Maybe because coach is not like very familiar with them, and he would rather stick with other players. But it's very hard for those people that know they should be playing or know they should be getting in, but they don't. Just because when you're sitting on that bench and you're looking at it, because I've been in the same situation, you know you should be playing instead of that guy, or you know you should at least be going in for those minutes for a little bit in this half, for a little bit in that half. But it's just hard to see because like sometimes coach doesn't put you in, but there could be many reasons to it. It could be maybe you don't have a good relationship with the coach. Maybe you don't train as hard as other people do in practices. And coach does see practices. He sees how people train, and he does like not all the time, but he does give playing time based on how you practice, how
Right.
conditioned you are, how you do this, that, and yeah, it's very important to have a good relationship with the coach on and off the field, and it's good that you try your best in everything that you do. And also confidence, how you said, it's a big key because when you get put on the field, like yeah, maybe you do one thing good, but then you get the ball and you just lost, like you blank out. Like you don't know what you're doing. You just get the ball and you make a mistake or somebody takes it off of you and they either score or they have a big chance and everyone's screaming at you, coach is screaming at you, and you're just like in this stage where you're like I don't even want to play anymore, like I have no confidence to play. And it is very hard to play the sport without any confidence because when you have no confidence, you can't think right, you don't know what you're doing, and it's just very hard. So confidence is a big key in playing any sport, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about is there any pregame rituals that you do, whether that's naps, praying, or eating right? Is there anything that you do before a game to help you prepare and focus?
Yeah, honestly, I have some. If I have a certain amount of time, like let's say a couple hours before a game, and I'm home, let's say I have 2 hours, I will take a good nap. I'll set an alarm so I wake up, but I'll take a good nap to get my body rested.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I feel like it's pretty good for everyone just to get like before the game, get body rested, get your nap in. But also, I do listen to music. I listen to all types of different music, but I feel like that sometimes help you just, get your mind off of everything and just like zone in. And
Mm-hmm.
lastly, I would say, I do pray before games. You know, I go in or not, I'm not sure, but I do pray, let's say, before kickoff. And it's not like I'm praying like out loud. I'm praying like
Right.
in my mind, just like asking for confidence, asking God to help me in this whenever I get put in or whatever I play, like for Him to help me, for giving me strength and do the best I can and perform the best I can on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and back to that prayer. We usually do the same thing, but my senior year of high school, we started praying before every game, and it flipped the switch and kind of calmed us down before we went to play. And there were at sometimes people who on the team obviously aren't Christians or deep in their faith. They would laugh about it when we're praying, but throughout the season, their mindset and view on this changed. Uh, have you ever prayed with a team before? Because um, people can view it as leading to no tolerance or no arguments throughout the season, and it just helps calm the team down through any hard situation that they face.
No, I haven't really done that with a team in general. Like usually if I pray like by myself, like, you know, in my thoughts.
Hmm.
But I haven't gone to that step yet where praying with the whole team. But I want to ask you, like, I totally agree with that. I like that idea because before a game, you just, you know, you get together as a team in a huddle and you just make a couple words, say a couple words just for you to play the best and stuff. But I just wanted to ask you, like, what happens if people on your team, let's say, aren't Christians, like they're other religions or they don't believe in God? Like, do they still pray with you or what do they do?
Yeah, so we usually would huddle around right before kickoff, and like I said at first, they would laugh during prayer, right? They would laugh, but yeah, obviously they did what we did, so we all did it as a team, as one unit, and but yeah, throughout the season, everybody understood what this was the point of, uh, even if they talk to or not talk to, but are from other religions, right, and believe in other stuff. I was always taught to respect other religions, and it doesn't matter what other people think. But yeah, throughout the season, they just understood it more. And some people would always ask me, "What's the point of this? What's the point of that?" I would just calmly tell them, it just helps us calm down, and it's something that I believe in. And we also had other players on the team that are Christians just like me, and me and them could have related to. And at first, the other teammates didn't understand, right, as I said, but throughout the season, we just all felt connected and worked together to complete one job. And we actually made it to state semifinals, where we did good, but and then the last game we kind of got destroyed.
Yeah, it's all good, but I do like that idea and I do want to try it in the future. But before we finish off, I just want to talk about your positioning and
Mhm.
stuff. I know, like, I'm a center mid, and like for me, the main thing, like, because a lot of center mids they have good IQ, they know what they're doing. They have good passing ability, shooting ability, other stuff, defending. But like the biggest thing for me is like identifying the field, and before I receive the ball, looking around, turning my head, making sure no one's on me, or I'm in the right position to turn, or do I have to pass it back because someone's on me? Like that's just the hardest thing for me, just taking peeks, looking around. But you're a winger, I would say.
Yeah.
I know you can play more positions, but your main position's a winger. Like, what's the one thing or like the main top thing that you need as a winger?
Yeah, so when I went to one college ID camp sophomore year of high school, and I after the camp I went up to the coach and I asked him what is stuff that I can work on because I was still young, right? I knew that they weren't going to recruit me at that time because I still had 2 years left, and they usually look at higher players like juniors and seniors. And I asked him what can I work on, and he said for your position, the first 5 yards you want them to be the quickest because that's where you make all your decisions. As soon as you get the ball, you want to sprint or just be active, right? Because the defender, he wants to set his feet, but when you the first 5 yards, you want to be quick. And being able to be technically gifted, I feel like every winger has that technical ability to shift their body in different movements and being able to pass the player in any situation. I know that we play a false nine as our team. We play it up to our
Striker?
striker, and the wingers spread out wide to receive the ball and then cross it. What coach calls them easy tapping goals because we get it.
Yeah, I feel like for wingers, it is great. like to work on your first 5 steps because that's when the defender's getting set and stuff, and you just
Right.
want to beat him right away. But yeah, it's just definitely beneficial if you're a winger that also has a great technical ability with dribbling, because it just helps a lot more. You have more stuff in the bag, how to do more moves, instead of just like feinting or like passing it back. But yeah, I
Mhm.
totally agree with you with that, and I think it's very important to work as a team and to accomplish a goal they want together.
Mhm. I know that you, like you said, you're a center mid. Is there any players that you looked up to recreate their style of play? Because obviously they play at a really high level. Is there anything you look up to in your position?
Like to look up to professional
Yeah,
players.
so like you see, let's say Tony Cruz, right? He plays like your position kind of,
hmm
and Modric. What do you look up to? Like, what do you get from their game that you can implement into yours?
I do like watching like Tony Cruz play, Thomas Partey, like Sergio Busquets, like all the center
Mm-hmm.
defensive mids. I I don't really watch like the way they shoot, they pass because, lots of center mids are good with that. I
Mm-hmm.
just watch the way like they identify the field when they turn, how they look around, like when they pass the ball back, when they know where to turn, how they see the field. Like they're just very smart players and they play very simple. Because I know all of them, they can't really like dribble. They're not fast compared to other like players, but they just have the IQ of making the right decisions at the right time, and they're always on top of it. They're top 3 center mids in the world, like so, yeah, it's good to see how they look at the field and view the field.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you got before we close?
I just want to say like it's first ever episode, and just starting up right now. We're gonna have more to come,
Yep.
and yeah, it's wraps for today.
Yes, sir.